I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jake, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio,
where we go back in time through a history of Disneyland classic restaurants.
Yes. I'm so excited about this. This came from us discussing the Diamond Horseshoe restaurant in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
And then we got talking about the history of that one, and then we started talking about history of the rest of the restaurants. It's fascinating.
It is a fascinating little Disney dining deep dive.
Yeah.
The restaurants themselves are historic buildings at this point, and a lot of them have very fascinating little backstories.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to think, because we weren't there, how it was when it opened, what that experience was like, to try to be able to close your eyes and imagine what things were like when Walt was really there.
Yes.
When the decisions he made. He was actually very, very involved in the food stuff. It was very important to him that this was not carnival food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a big part of Disney's mission when building Disneyland was to differentiate it from other amusements of the time.
Yes.
Which were typically lowbrow fare with cheap offerings.
Yes.
And he wanted it to be something more sophisticated for the American family.
Yeah, and we think about his involvement a lot in the rides and the ambiance, but I don't think we really, I didn't think about him being so involved in the food, but he was very involved in the food. And so that's what makes this even more interesting, especially if you're a Disney fanatic, to think about just the history of it. Just him, what he wanted, him being there, him thinking that, this is what I want this to be like. Anyway, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I think a lot of this will be fascinating information because maybe you've heard of these restaurants, maybe you've even dined in these restaurants, but to go back to kind of the dawn of their conception in terms of what the idea was and what Walt wanted is a very interesting thing. And we're going to hit on a bunch of different ones, and maybe you'll learn something fascinating.
Yeah. It's something that kind of ties into this, which I think is kind of funny about me, but maybe a lot of people feel this way that are Disney super fans, is that when I went to the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, one of the most interesting things that I saw to me was a list in Walt's handwriting that he made for his new cook, telling her what meals he liked.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I don't know why. It just really, that's one of the things in that museum I'll never forget.
I think Walt Disney's personal tastes had a lot of influence on what Disneyland became.
For sure.
So to see the things that he personally enjoyed in his day-to-day life is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Because that's the brain and the life that all of this creativity comes from.
And it makes him a real person, I think.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It does.
When people ask you, who would you meet, dead or alive, is he always on your list?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's always on my list. So, for him not to just be this genius that made this place that's now my happy place and your happy place, and everybody who's listening is probably a happy place, was also a real human who liked fried chicken and you know what I mean.
Yes.
Chili is a very interesting.
Chili.
The chili. That's. Yeah.
Yes, a peek into the man behind the myth.
Yeah.
Yes, that is definitely what you get with these. Before we dive into this fantastical dining tour, we did want to thank you for joining us. And if you would like to help to support the podcast so that we continue taking these fantastic deep dives into Disney history, then you can do that by subscribing to the show wherever you listen to podcasts and by leaving us a review.
Yeah, we appreciate that so much. We love reading them. If you are thinking about taking a Disney trip or even a Universal trip or a cruise, please consider sending me an email. I am a free-to-you travel agent, and I can get you usually a better deal than you'd be able to find yourself. If at the absolute worst, it's the same deal you could find yourself after spending hours and hours online checking and looking. Plus, you get all of the benefits of having a personal travel agent. I will be the one waiting on hold to make a request for you at your hotel or to get dining reservations or whatever. My email address is morgan@neverlandnavigation.com, and I would love to be your personal travel agent, completely free to you.
Absolutely. Best in the business service over there at Neverland
Thanks.
Navigation Travel.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to begin?
Yeah.
We're gonna bookend this episode, or I guess we'll finish out with kind of a deep dive into a particular restaurant. But Morgan, you've dug up some information about several of the opening day Disneyland restaurants, right?
Yeah. We are about to take a magical foodie time machine back to the opening day of Disneyland and kind of do a walk around the park to see what the dining options were there. And then when we get to the one that started this whole conversation, Jake he'll take over at the end and give you the deep dive into that one because that's the most interesting, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So this is before churros and before Dole Whips. So we'll have to put ourselves in a very different time frame here. So starting with Main Street USA, of course, right where you walk in. Walt wanted Main Street to feel like a small town Americana, and food was a huge part of the vibe that he wanted. So think classic soda fountains, ice cream parlors, and cozy diners, which I will say, I still get that. There's still the things on Main Street in both Disneyland and Disney World today that give that vibe, and I'm glad that we're still honoring Walt in that way.
Absolutely.
The first one that I'm going to talk about is the Red Wagon Inn. I find this fascinating. This was at the end of Main Street near Central Plaza, and it's where Plaza Inn sits today.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of evolved, you know?
I see.
The theme back when it opened was a fancy Victorian-style restaurant sponsored by Swift and Company, which I wasn't familiar with that, but that's a meat packing giant.
Oh, okay. I've seen their trucks.
Okay, so you were saying they're still around.
I think so.
I didn't look into the company because also all of these restaurants were like sponsored. Or if I think all of them, I'll let you know if not when we're going along. But just like the rides back in 1955,
right,
where they didn't have the money to like make this entire park all by themselves, they got sponsorships from a lot of different places. But when Walt was saying, I don't want carnival food, he went after sponsorships that were maybe a higher elevation.
Yeah, that totally makes sense to ensure the quality he was looking for.
Yeah, not just like Oscar Mayer or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, this Red Wagon Inn was the fancy Victorian style restaurant, and the vibe was a fancy date night place.
Oh.
So they served prime rib, fried chicken, fancy date night fried chicken, and turkey dinners with tablecloth service.
Okay.
Yeah, prime rib does sound fancy to me, but the other two don't. But in 1955, this must have been, right?
Yeah, maybe he was taking Lillian out for,
yeah,
a nice fried chicken dinner.
Well, he loved fried chicken, so maybe.
Yeah.
Walt personally oversaw the menu and the decor. He wanted it to feel like an elegant, old-fashioned dining experience. So he wanted it to feel old-fashioned. It was 1955, so you got to think about that.
Right. So old-fashioned then.
Old-fashioned to us.
Victorian era. Yeah. Literally. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Except for, I don't know the Victorian era, I think of fried chicken, but okay.
Sure.
The Red Wagon Inn became the Plaza Inn in 1965, so it wasn't super date nighty for very long, only 10 years.
Okay.
When it changed to the Plaza Inn, it became a little bit more casual, and it remains a favorite character dining spot today.
Oh.
You can go there for like a Minnie and Friends breakfast now.
Oh, cute.
I think it's Minnie and Friends. I did not, that's not in my research. I'm just remembering that from a recent trip that I booked.
Gotcha.
Next, there was the Coca-Cola Refreshment Corner. Obviously sponsored by Coca-Cola. The theme was a classic turn-of-the-century soda fountain.
Cute.
Very much reminds me of the Carousel of Progress.
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was originally called Refreshment Corner. This was sponsored by Coca-Cola from day one, and it still is one of the longest sponsorships in Disney history. I mean, it has to be at least tied for the longest sponsorship in Disney history because it's still sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Cool.
Guests could sip Coke and listen to a live piano player just like today. The next one is the Carnation Ice Cream Parlor. Sounds kind of familiar, right? This is located on Main Street next to the Hub. This is an 1890s ice cream parlor with marble counters. It's sponsored by Carnation. This was a go-to spot for sundaes, malts, and sodas. It closed in 1997, which was surprising, I think, at the time because it was beloved. But parts of it still live on as Carnation Cafe, which is, still around now. And for us, we've got the ice cream parlor in that same spot.
Yeah.
It's just not called that.
No, ours is the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor.
Yeah, okay. There was also Swift's Market House. This was located on Main Street. It was a general store feel that sold sandwiches, coffee, and snacks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, also run by Swift & Co., which is the same sponsor of the Red Wagon Inn.
Okay.
Market House later transformed into Starbucks.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. In Magic Kingdom, as I'm sure a lot of you remember, there's the Main Street Bakery that used to be there that is now a Starbucks.
Yes.
Yeah, it's controversial. I would rather a Starbucks be somewhere else and Main Street Bakery still exists because, like they say, they still have bakery stuff. But when I was a kid, the smell of the, like, really fresh cinnamon rolls from there, I don't know, seemed more bakery than what Starbucks offers.
Agreed. It's just a more,
It's a vibe. It might be a vibe.
When you think small town turn of the century, you don't think
Starbucks. Yeah. I think, honestly, they could have put 2 Starbucks in different locations in Magic Kingdom, and I would have been okay with that.
Same. I can think of some places in Tomorrowland that would love a Starbucks.
Agreed. And I think that they could have done a futuristic vibe to a Starbucks that would have been fun, and certainly a Fantasyland or New Fantasyland would have been a great spot for a Starbucks because they've got kind of the mermaid thing going on.
Yeah. That sounds great.
And a good location. There's definitely, I can think of like a spot that could do it. Anyway, not complaining. I'm just saying.
Interesting.
The next thing was the Gibson Greeting Card and Candy Shop. That was on Main Street. I know, weird, right? A candy shop with greeting cards.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a mix of shopping and sugar, which was a very 50s vibe. Guests could grab a fudge or sweets here. Open on day 1.
So not the confectionery. Interesting.
Right. And Gibson, you've seen the Gibson girl. See, I associate that with our ice cream shop.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway. So, that's it for Main Street.
Okay.
Moving on to Adventureland. Adventureland in 1955 had a very small footprint, so the food was minimal there.
Okay.
There was the Adventureland Juice Bar. Fascinating.
Wow.
It was right by the entrance to Adventureland. The theme was a simple juice stand, and this was the OG tropical sip spot. So this is pre-Dole Whip, of course. Today, this is the same area where Dole Whip is now served, right in front of the Tiki Room entrance.
I can kind of imagine this with, like, pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice. That's orange juice,
coconut?
I guess. Maybe a concoction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like
that would
blend.
be nice.
Yeah. Maybe this is where they invented Pog.
Wouldn't that... I would hope that would have come up in my research, and it didn't, but, maybe.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I love a Pog juice.
Oh, me too.
Next is Frontierland Dining, excuse me.
Okay.
Frontierland was huge in 1955. I haven't seen the map yet. I'm going to pull up a map from 1955 to kind of see how it evolved, but I have to imagine that some of Frontierland got turned into Adventureland because Frontierland was giant and Adventureland was smaller, and now I feel like
Adventureland's not tiny anymore in Disneyland.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
they've got the Indiana Jones ride. Oh my god, and Bingo Barbecue and the Jungle Cruise and Dole Whip. I mean, even if that's it. Anyway.
And Tiki Room.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, Frontierland was huge. And Walt wanted it to feel rustic and hearty. I think Walt really loved the Frontierland vibe.
Yeah, he loved the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things in Frontierland is Golden Horseshoe Revue and Saloon, which I am not going to talk about because Jake is going to give us a whole big fun explanation of that.
Righto.
And then, something I will talk about is Casa de Fritos.
Ooh.
So this one is so historically relevant, I can't even begin. So it was in Frontierland, it's where Rancho del Zocalo, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, sits today. It had Mexican food and it was sponsored by Frito-Lay. So Here's why it's legendary if you don't already know the story. I do think we've talked about it before once, but this is where Doritos was invented on accident. Oh. Yeah, so a chef that was working in this establishment fried up leftover tortillas and seasoned them and turned them into chips, and then this is the birth of Doritos.
I love this story.
Yeah.
Doritos is one of my favorite, like, cheap snack foods.
Oh, yeah.
There's just something so crunchy and, like, salty. It just hits the spot.
I love a Cool Ranch Dorito. I'm sure that's not what he invented, but go on.
Probably not, but I'm with you. I love a Cool Ranch Dorito. And I just love that this is one of those really weird Disney facts.
It's so weird.
You would never think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the name of that guy, so I don't know if he got credit. I hope he did.
I know, right? He better have his name in the Dorito Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very cool, an invention in Disney
I
that,
know.
like, we all buy today.
That's progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next is Aunt Jemima Pancake House.
Oh, I didn't know she had a pancake house.
I didn't know
Disneyland.
this either. So it was in Frontierland, Riverfront. The theme was a breakfast spot sponsored by Aunt Jemima.
Sounds cozy.
Yeah, open all day, not just mornings. So people could enjoy their breakfast all day. Guests loved pancakes, waffles, and fried chicken here.
We would love this.
Yes.
I think we would be here.
We would love this.
Yeah.
Something that would be wildly problematic today is there were live Aunt Jemima appearances for meet and greets in this restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Very 1950s marketing. Obviously wouldn't work today.
Right.
But at the time, whatever.
That pops up in Disneyland.
Yeah. Later it becomes River Belle Terrace.
Okay.
All right. So, but very cool. Pancakes, waffles, fried chicken all day long.
I never knew that. How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a decent value too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The next is the Silver Banjo Barbecue, located in Frontierland also.
Oh.
This was co-owned by Don DeFore. I don't know how to pronounce this. He was a Hollywood actor, though, so somebody listening is going to know and tell me I've got it wrong.
Oh.
This served barbecue platters, and it was very unique because it was the only Disneyland restaurant run by an outside Hollywood personality.
Oh.
Yeah, an actor, nonetheless.
Fascinating.
Very surprising.
Maybe one day we'll take a deep dive on how all that happened.
We might need to look into this one a little bit more.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Moving on to Fantasyland dining.
Ooh.
Since Fantasyland was the heart of the park, it had the most whimsical food locations.
Love it.
Of course. Although I don't know that this is where we would have been eting. Just saying.
Really?
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
So we've talked about this one before very briefly, and I'm not going to get too much into it now, but there was the Chicken of the Sea pirate ship and restaurant.
Oh, we did talk about that
yeah,
once.
This was like,
Tuna.
It was tuna, of course. Yeah, and it was located at Fantasyland Lagoon, and it was a full-size pirate ship serving tuna sandwiches and salads, and was sponsored by Chicken of the Sea Company.
What a waste of a pirate ship, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah.
How... I cannot think of a more lackluster thing to be in such a fantastically themed.
There's so much that I could imagine. I mean, even having kind of the same kind of things that we have at Columbia Harbor House.
I was just about to say that.
Good fish and chips would be nice.
Fine.
Yeah.
Pirates would love that.
You could have some tuna sandwiches for those that wanted tuna sandwiches on a hot day in Disneyland, but I'd be surprised if that was wildly popular, although maybe tuna sandwiches were way more popular in the 50s.
Tuna was huge in the 50s. Tuna casseroles and things like that were like all the rage.
You're
so
right.
I think that's what it is.
You're right. I do think of tuna casserole when I think of 50s.
I think...
Like if somebody said, like, we're doing a 50s like potluck, that is what I'd consider making.
I agree. So maybe Chicken of the Sea was really having their moment.
Maybe they were, but this was a very whimsical and fanciful location. It had sails, a galley, and a mermaid figurehead.
I'm sad this isn't there now.
I know. Even if they just updated the menu.
Yeah, I don't miss the tuna. Yeah, it's just the big pirate ship.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I mean, if it was great tuna, I guess I would try it. It's just surprising.
Yeah.
It's surprising that it sounds like that's all they had.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't even hate tuna. I like tuna.
Yeah.
It just seems like a weird thing. Yeah.
It does seem smelly.
Yes. A hot Disneyland day.
Maybe better in California than here, but like it sounds smelly. It sounds like the kind of restaurant you would smell from a 10-minute walk away.
Yeah, I can smell the tuna.
I don't want to be downwind of the Chicken of the Sea pirate ship.
No.
Anyway, this was an iconic location until 1982 when it was removed for the new Fantasyland.
Yeah.
The sponsor was obviously Chicken of the Sea.
Yeah.
Which is tuna for all the Jessica Simpsons listening out there. The Fantasyland Dairy Bar is next.
Dairy bar? Dairy bar?
Yeah. Sponsored by the American Dairy Association. Okay. But it did serve milkshakes and ice cream, which is fair.
I was just thinking different flavors of milk.
I know. It's a very unwhimsical name.
Yeah.
I am not impressed with the name. It was near King Arthur Carousel. I've been to Disneyland a lot, but I'm always imagining our Walt Disney World because that's what we go like every week.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining it's where like our Friar Tuck's is.
Agreed.
Which also serves ice cream sometimes. Yeah. Anyway.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. American Dairy Bar. Okay. Yeah. And then again, the next one, Welch's Grape Juice Bar. Okay, it's in Fantasyland. Guests could grab a little paper cup of grape juice. Served fresh and frosty.
Okay. I like grape juice. Sure.
Do you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I don't find grape juice to be very refreshing.
I don't either. It's very like it's sweet and it's like a little bit not sour, but tart.
Something. I would never think like, oh, I'm thirsty, I'm sweating, I need a grape juice.
I know. Maybe it was having a big moment in the 50s.
Maybe it was new then. I'm sorry. I probably should know the information of this, but I don't.
Well,
I just saw that this dairy bar and the grape juice bar were in Fantasyland, and I was like, it's just so different than the Donald Duck pirate ship Chicken of the Sea tuna sandwich spot.
I know.
Okay.
It's head scratcher.
I guess probably it sounds like back then it was a little bit more important to these sponsors to have their name in the title.
Right.
Especially for these Fantasyland ones. Obviously, Red Wagon Inn doesn't, but like...
And it's all about having their like signature product on display.
Featured.
Like Chicken of the Sea, it was all tuna.
Yeah. Welch's Grape Juice Bar, you're getting grape juice. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mess. Your kids are going to have it on their shirt.
Oh, gosh.
Weird. Anyway.
They're button up white.
Weird. If anybody has any experience of this, I'd love to hear about it. It doesn't sound like a good idea.
I agree. And it doesn't sound fantastical.
I never wanted to give my kid grape juice because it stains. Yeah, okay. I mean, white grape juice, maybe?
Oh, actually, yeah, maybe.
Juice in general these days is now not recommended for kids because of the sugar, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, next is fan-to-fan snack stands. The 2 is the number 2.
Interesting.
Fantasyland had multiple little snack carts from popcorn to ice cream. The popcorn carts themselves became iconic with their hand crank figures. No idea why it's called fan to fan. But there we go. Those were the things in Fantasyland.
Cool.
I guess if I had to pick one of these, I probably would do the tuna one.
Yeah,
More
I guess
for the ambiance than anything else.
I'd want to be in that pirate ship.
Oh, heck yeah. Sorry.
Got carried away.
Yep.
Tuna. Okay. We're just so passionate about the tuna.
Yeah. The giant pirate ship to eat out of.
I know.
We love a good ambiance.
I know. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I can't believe they tore it down.
I know. Well, it was part of that new Fantasyland thing. And remember, that's the one where Marty Sklar was looking at them tearing all those things out, and he famously said, "Oh God, what have we done?"
Oh no, I didn't. Did I know that? Marty Sklar?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think maybe that was part of it.
Fascinating.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you've told me that. I wasn't picturing that part of it, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that was part of that big renovation where they like redid Peter Pan.
Yeah.
They changed up that whole land.
Oof.
Yeah.
I just really love a good ambiance restaurant, and to take one with that much character out shocks me.
I know, it feels so Disney to
Yeah,
have like a
it
big
does.
pirate ship you
It
can eat
does.
seafood in.
Right? And clearly they had a kitchen they were working from, so they could have changed it. Like, if Chicken of the Sea pulled their sponsorship, maybe good news. You can change it.
Yeah, you can put a fried chicken sandwich in there.
Yeah, Walt would have loved that.
Yeah.
Tomorrowland dining, which, Tomorrowland dining has had its ups and downs.
Spotty.
Spotty, yeah. Tomorrowland was very much sponsored by corporate America, and the food reflected that. So this gets weird. You ready for weird?
My Monsanto chemistry burger.
So, let's see. Hold on. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Dutch Boy Paint Gallery and Dairy Bar. Dairy Bar must have just what they call an ice cream bar back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
Dutch Boy Paint sponsored an ice cream bar. What? And it was called Dutch Boy Paint Gallery and Dairy Bar. Yeah, weird. They also had a snack counter that served dairy products, shakes, and quick bites. Weird combo, but very 50s Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where Tomorrowland is always where the disconnect comes in. You know what I mean?
Yes, thematic wackiness.
Let's get a paint sponsor. That makes sense.
Why?
Kaiser Aluminum Hall of Fame Patio. All right. Kaiser had a pavilion in Tomorrowland, and their patio doubled as a snack spot. It says Kaiser Aluminum, so I have to assume this is the Reynolds of the 1950s.
I think so. But maybe they're like aluminum siding and stuff. Maybe that kind of aluminum.
Maybe. And then that would maybe make sense with Tomorrowland. It just doesn't make sense with food.
I know. It's like, do they serve everything in aluminum foil?
Yeah. Then they had a hot dog stand and ice cream cones, which was just not... That was quick serve walk-up stands, not sponsored.
We could have that now, yeah.
We do, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And then there was a space bar, a futuristic... This one sounds the most non-disconnected. Like,
yeah.
I get it. I like it. I want to go.
Tell me.
It's a futuristic snack bar with hot dogs and hamburgers. Simple but fun, themed as if you were dining in the future. Reminds me of Cosmic Rays without all of the fanfare of the animatronic and all that.
Sounds cute.
Yeah, and it doesn't, from what I gathered, that one wasn't sponsored by anybody weird.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I bet it had that cool 50s space aesthetic.
Yeah, I bet so too. I bet it was cool. Let's see. All right, and then I have a few just little fun facts. Did you want me to end on this after you do the... Yeah, you go into your deep dive of Golden Horseshoe.
Okay. The Golden Horseshoe has a very interesting history.
Frontierland, right?
Yes, Frontierland. And obviously very heavily featured the involvement of Walt Disney himself.
Right.
As with a lot of the restaurants that we've been mentioning, because Walt was really involved in these. I'm getting some information from the Walt Disney Family Museum, the D23 website, and the Disney Wiki. The Golden Horseshoe opened on July 13th, 1955, unofficially, because Walt and Lillian Disney went there before its official opening to celebrate their 30th wedding anniversary.
I know, I saw this too. It's so cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah. With
a private party at the Golden Horseshoe with the show, the Golden Horseshoe Revue. They took a cruise on the Mark Twain riverboat, and then before they were shown to their home for the evening, they went to the Golden Horseshoe. They were dancers, singers, and performers entertaining the crowd, including Donald Novis, Judy Marsh, who played the original Slewfoot Sue, and Wally Bogue, who would later voice Jose in the Enchanted Tiki Room. They say it was mostly a dress rehearsal, but it was our first show as far as I'm concerned, Bogue said of the night with Walt and Lillian, which is very cute.
Yeah.
So Walt seemed very happy on the night, and his daughter, Diane Disney Miller, later remembered about his mood. Dad had been out in the park all day prior to this. It had been a dream for so long, and here it was. Everything was almost done, which sounds like a beautiful little evening for the family.
Yeah.
And then Walt Disney reserved a private box upstairs to the right of the stage at the Golden Horseshoe, which is now open to the public. So that's a cool little piece of history there that you can experience even now. The show marked Wally Bogue's first official performance as Pecos Bill at the Golden Horseshoe Saloon, and Walt himself was a big fan of the show at the restaurant. And his daughter Diane remembered that he took all of his guests there. It was never stale because Wally Bogue was always fresh. Bogue, the cast member who played Pecos Bill, was part of the team there until 1982, and then Betty Taylor, who was hired as Slewfoot Sue in 1956. Slewfoot Sue was like the main character of the show. Became the longest running cast member, continuing her role until the show's final performance in 1986. The saloon itself, which now is pretty similar to how it was when it opened, was kind of luxurious. It had gilded wallpaper, ornate light fixtures, and carved wooden accents. And that was styled as a turn-of-the-century opera house. And it was more that than a saloon. So it had an opera house vibe and not like a dingy saloon kind of vibe. It was designed by Disney legend Harper Goff, who worked closely with Walt Disney throughout Disneyland's conception, and he was responsible for the interior, and he used a set design that he had created for the 1953 Warner Brothers film Calamity Jane. So Goff was a Hollywood set designer, and he used his experience designing for westerns to create the interior of the Golden Horseshoe. Goff already worked on designing the exteriors for the buildings on Main Street, USA when he was asked to work on the project. So a lot of that charm that you get with those building designs on Main Street, USA, I feel like that directly translates to the interior of the Golden Horseshoe, which was then the model for our Diamond Horseshoe here at Walt Disney World.
Right.
There were several productions at the Golden Horseshoe. The first show to open on the stage was Slewfoot Sue's Golden Horseshoe Revue, and that was on July 17th, 1955. Something interesting about the show was that it was a variety show that ran 39,000 times and is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the longest running musical of all time.
Wow.
According to Guinness, the greatest number of performances by any theatrical presentation is 47,250 for the Golden Horseshoe Revue, a stage show at Disneyland Park where it was seen by 16 million people.
Wow.
Amazing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
This might be silly. Do you know, was it dinner theater? Like everybody got sat and then the show started and they brought out food? Or was it just ongoing while people were sitting, eating, getting up, sitting, eating, getting up?
I believe it was people sitting, eating, getting up.
Fascinating. It
would play multiple times throughout the day or the evening, but it was like a constant rotation of people.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. They didn't take dining reservations for a long time. People just walked right in and wait to be seated.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see this.
I know. It's actually, I'll get to a minute, way that you can kind of see it. But Renee, I don't know how you say this person's name, but Rennie, maybe? Conley, designed the gowns worn by Slewfoot Sue and the Can-Can Girls. And after she left Disney, she went on to design costumes for 20th Century Fox, but she has a Main Street window above the Blue Ribbon Bakery. Norman Buddy Baker composed the scores for many of the songs used in the review, and music for the show was put together by the Golden Horseshoe Pit band leader Charles Lever and Tom Adair. So they actually played the music in the show as well as composing the arrangements, which is pretty cool.
All live?
Yeah, all live instruments.
Awesome.
One of the features of the show would be that children would come on stage to dance and sing, and one of their favorites was Davy Crockett, which is such a cute thing to imagine. The show featured saloon owner Slewfoot Sue and her dance hall girls, who welcomed everyone with the song Hello Everybody, followed by a flirtatious interactive song called A Lady Has to Mind Her P's and Q's.
Oh my god.
Or Riverboat Blues.
Oh my god.
The show's MC introduced various skits featuring a traveling salesman played by Wally Bogue. And then the show would be interrupted by Pecos Bill, who would sing his self-titled signature song. So Pecos Bill was kind of like a Western folklore character, who obviously we get in Pecos Bill's Tall Tales Cafe here at Walt Disneyland, but
Disney World.
Sorry, yes, Disney World. But he was a character in this show back at Disneyland, which is kind of interesting.
He's a folklore character to begin with, right? For like a long time.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So from 1986 to 1994, there was a new show called the Golden Horseshoe Jamboree Show, and then from 1994 to 2012, the stage featured a bluegrass and comedy show called the Billy Hill and the Hillbillies. Then came the Golden Horseshoe Variety Show that ran 2 days a week from 1995 until 2003, and featured comedy and magic. It was performed by Dana Daniels, who was mentored by Wally Bogue. And then the next production there was the Woody's Roundup. It was a child-friendly show that ran from 1999 till 2000 and featured Toy Story characters.
Funny, I'm always thinking they could do that here.
I know, same. We've actually mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah.
And then there was a comedy melodrama called Frontierland, The Little Town That Could. It only ran 2 days a week, but it ran from 2001 to 2003, and it featured a fictitious history of Frontierland, which I think sounds so fun.
That sounds cute.
I know, right?
I bet we could YouTube that since it was in the 2000s.
I know, yeah. There's probably home video. Laughing Stock Company then performed an improvised comedy show from 2012 to 2019, and then a new show called A Salute to the Golden Horseshoe Revue, which was an homage to those fun-filled, family-friendly musical varieties of the past, ran for a brief time from January 10th to February 4th, 2013. That's a very short time. And every Thursday through Monday. It featured song and dance numbers from the original Golden Horseshoe Revue, such as Hello Everybody and A Good Man is Hard to Find, Belly Up to the Bar, and The Can-Can. The next and final production to call the stage home was called Showdown at the Golden Horseshoe. It was a dueling piano show that opened on November 22nd, 2019, and its run ended...
sounds fun.
I know, dueling piano in that like old opera house type vibe sounds great. Unfortunately, it did come to a close on March 14th, 2020, when Disneyland closed because of the coronavirus. And currently, the Golden Horseshoe only features a single pianist on stage who plays Disney numbers sometimes while people are eating.
Oh, wow. What is the Disneyland one? So the Disneyland one still has a live performer.
Yes.
And do you know what their menu is like? I can look it up.
I don't know what their current menu is like.
Okay, I'm just curious because of hours. Are you going to talk about hours at all?
Yes, I'm actually about to get into that
Great.
right now.
Great.
The Diamond Horseshoe Revue was an opening day location in the Magic Kingdom in 1971, and it had a show that was very similar to Disneyland. In fact, the writer and comedian Wally Bogue even briefly relocated to Florida to get the show up and running.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we had the guy himself. And then the new show also featured live music, sing-alongs, and Can-Can, and Slewfoot Sue and Pecos Bill even made appearances. The hour-long show was performed sometimes up to 10 times a day, daily, until it was changed in 1986. So in 1986, the show was renamed the Diamond Horseshoe Jamboree and required advanced dining reservations for the first time. Nearly 10 years later, the show changed again and went under the original Diamond Horseshoe Revue name, and then the menu was changed from a table service to a quick service restaurant until 2003. I never knew that this place had quick service. A few months later, Goofy's Country Dancin' Jamboree opened at the restaurant's former location. It was an 18-minute character show, and it closed less than a year later.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound fun. But apparently there was no food. It was just a show.
Oh, never mind.
5 years, for 5 years until 2009, the Diamond Horseshoe sat completely empty and unused. And I think that's why I don't remember it from my youth, because it seems like a lot of that time it was either just this character show or completely
I didn't even know about
closed
that character
altogether.
show. Did you?
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And yes, I remember it being closed, but I talked to my parents about it when we went to the Diamond Horseshoe recently, and they said that when I was like a little kid and it was still running, that it didn't seem like something that we as kids would have been interested in.
Gotcha. Well, that'll explain. Did you find their current menu?
Yeah. So the Golden Horseshoe in Disneyland now is a quick service.
Oh, okay.
So they have hot honey chicken sandwich, cowboy fries, which is fries, nacho cheese, sautéed ground beef, burger sauce, and butter pickles. A sampler box, which has hot honey tenders, mini corn dogs, fries, and beer battered onion rings. A Caesar wrap, chicken tenders, or beer battered onion rings. And then it has some seasonal offerings, but they're like drinks. They've got a Halloween candy glow cube.
Oh, okay.
A Halloween travel tumbler, a cocoa sipper, stuff like that.
So it's just like a lightly Western themed fast food.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like, I mean, yeah. I would say it sounds kind of like our Pecos Bills. It probably is filling that void.
Right.
But the food sounds themed correctly for a quick serve Western, you know what I mean?
Right.
Fried food.
I know.
And I'm surprised that there's an actual person playing the piano at a quick serve, but yeah, great.
Good for them.
Because the Diamond Horseshoe now, which you're going to get into, so I won't mention.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You'll say that what's going on in the Diamond Horseshoe now is worse than this, and it's not quick serve. Go
Agreed.
on.
I'm actually surprised to learn the Disneyland one is quick serve.
I'd rather this, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because it used to be such a staple dining show.
And if it was getting unpopular because other parents were feeling like my parents were, my kids aren't going to be interested in some people doing the can while they're eating, then change the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Update the show, just like
show.
Country Bears.
Exactly.
Country Bears was getting, inappropriate, stale, whatever, for today's audiences. It wasn't working, so they changed it, and now it's great. They could have done that.
Agreed.
Go on.
Totally agreed. Just the Woody show with food.
Yeah.
Like the Woody's Roundup menu.
Or that Goofy show with food. You know what I mean? Then it would be a character dinner theater. Holy cow.
I know.
We only have like one of those, and it's in Fort Wilderness, and it's hard to get to.
Yeah. Hoop-de-doo.
And that's not even character, is it?
No, it's like the original Diamond Horseshoe. It was just a review.
Do we have a character dinner experience?
That's a theater show?
Yeah, we don't, right?
No, I don't think we do.
And we could.
We could. That would be great. All right, so the Diamond Horseshoe sat empty and unused until 2009, and then it reopened as a quick serve. And then in recent times, the Walt Disney World version was a seasonal table service restaurant with advanced dining reservations, but no show. It currently features a self-playing piano, which provides musical ambiance during dining. Yes.
Sometimes it's not playing at all.
Right.
Go on.
Which is like the worst possible version of it, I think.
I know. Like, best case scenario, there's a self-playing piano playing. That's weird.
Well, the best case scenario for you would be during the holidays when it plays festive tunes.
Oh, okay.
How fun.
Yeah.
It currently shares a menu with the Liberty Tree Tavern, lunch served from 1 p.m. until 2:55, and then dinner from 3 until 7. Yeah, we find that to be kind of a lackluster situation.
It's depressing. So it's the same exact, you guys probably heard me talk about this. We've talked about this. But the Liberty Tree Tavern has the whole like Thanksgiving all-you-can-eat family style. Very expensive, by the way. But good for that kind of thing, for a Thanksgiving style meal. And in Liberty Tree Tavern, the ambiance really makes sense with what you're eating because it's like colonial and it just makes sense. But then eating a Thanksgiving style meal in a very Western themed space makes no sense.
Yeah, it's disconjointed. Mm-hmm. Don't like that.
And still expensive.
They should just, with the popularity of the Hoop-de-Doo Revue, which people really seem to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And pay a lot of money for. It seems like a no-brainer to me to take that same concept and maybe even add some well-known characters to the mix and just call it what it is. And let people enjoy it in Frontierland. Yeah, and I don't know if they would need to... I don't even feel like they would need to do it dinner theater style where everybody's going to get there at the same time and be seated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I get why that would be difficult with Disney dining, and sometimes you're running late and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'd be better to do basically what they do at the beer garden.
Beer garden style.
Yeah, where at Beer Garden, it's a German buffet, and then when the musicians come out and play like a lively set of music and entertainment for like maybe 15 or 20 minutes, then they go away for 15 or 20 minutes, then they come back for 15 or 20 minutes, and it just goes on and on and on and on.
And that's great for this type of review.
Yeah. It's perfect. If you're like you're doing 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, then you're guaranteed for everybody to see a set.
Right. And you might see a different thing when you come back the next time.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
It would be great. I cannot understand why they haven't thought of this yet.
I think paying entertainers is honestly might be part of the reason, which is very unfortunate.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't even think they would need very many.
I agree. I think it could work with a small cast. I agree.
And I think they could charge a lot.
I know. It's just the beer garden model, but with a Western theme.
Right.
What's so complicated?
It's not that complicated. I can't imagine that even just paying for entertainers or whatever would be the issue, because it doesn't even have to be as much as I'm saying. I don't know what the difference between paying somebody dressed up like Chip and Dale is versus paying musicians dressed up like cowboys would be, but if one's cheaper than the other, I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
I would rather the Chip and Dale dressed as cowboys.
Sounds cute.
Yeah.
You know where they have it figured out?
Where?
Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh, of
where
course.
the Diamond Horseshoe opened with the
Tokyo?
park in 1983.
Oh, I did not know this.
And it continues to run today, featuring the Diamond Horseshoe Revue, which is very similar to the original show in Disneyland.
Wow. And that's just because they're probably interested in American weird culture from a long time ago.
They find our cowboy shenanigans to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm
sure. And I mean, I have seen when I was a kid, like we would go see shows with school and stuff that were like Asian whatever and might not be how it really is over, in Asia now. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, learning about different cultures is interesting.
Yes, cultural enrichment. Mm-hmm. Very fascinating.
Yeah, so Disney World is where they really drop the ball here.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Although Disneyland being quick serve and a single player piano doesn't sound great
It's not great, but it's still, I think it's leaps and bounds better than what we have.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I feel sad for this. I feel sad for the memory of this. Maybe they can turn it around. It's still there. The decor is still there.
Yes, it's not too late.
I think it's possible.
And I have good news.
What's that?
In 1962, Ron Miller, the son-in-law to Walt Disney, made a direct-to-television movie titled The Golden Horseshoe Revue for Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color.
Oh, wow.
The film starred Disney actress Annette Funicello, who has come up a surprising number of times.
All the time.
On this podcast. She was in the Mickey Mouse Club back in the day, and she was a frequent collaborator with the Muppets, so she earned herself a little tribute in the queue to Muppet Vision 3D, which is a net full of Jell-O hanging from the ceiling, which we loved. It also starred Ed Wynn, Betty Taylor, Gene Sheldon, and Wally Bogue, who was obviously a mainstay from the original production of the show, came back for the movie, and also stars Walt Disney himself. The film is a cinematic interpretation of an evening out at the Revue, which is very fun. I definitely will be watching.
Yeah.
Also in existence is a soundtrack album released on vinyl in 1957. It was recorded in the Golden Horseshoe at Disneyland and offers a complete musical representation of the show. It's called Slewfoot Sue's Golden Horseshoe Revue and can still be found for purchase on websites like eBay and Discogs if you're interested in the original version of the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's something we'll definitely be checking out. I'm really glad when you can kind of like take a step back in time by watching something.
I know. It's great when these classic experiences are somehow preserved.
Yeah.
It's not always the case. We have fully lost some things from Disney history. Yeah. But when you've got stuff from like the 50s that's preserved in like an album and a made-for-TV film, it's really, really great.
Yeah. And I mean, something silly like a made-for-TV film, like I I just can imagine watching that stupid 90s Tower of Terror movie.
Yeah.
When I'm like a grandma with my grandkids, like, this is what Tower of Terror was like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, especially if it's gone, which eventually is possible.
Right.
Because as much as we want the Tower of Terror to stay the same, it might not, because they have to sign the contract with whoever owns
the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and you just never know when that is going to go away.
So true.
That's what happened to us with the Great Movie Ride. So I'm so glad to have something, even if it's silly, to kind of commemorate that. I'm really glad they did that.
Yay. The more that's preserved, the better.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have some theme park dining fun facts at Disneyland to round us out?
Kind of, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say a few more things.
Sure.
So I did mention this a little earlier, but Disneyland on opening day had no churros, popcorn buckets, or turkey legs. Those icons came much, much later.
Hard to imagine.
So the food scene in 1955, just to kind of wrap it up, was like a perfect mix of a country fair, Mom's Sunday dinner, and brand sponsorship central. Mm-hmm. And while we've traded Welch's grape juice for Galaxy's Edge blue milk and tuna sandwiches for corn dogs, you can still kind of feel Walt's original dream of Disneyland being a place where dining was part of the show, not something you had to do, just because you're there so long you get hungry.
Right.
And then I've got a fun travel advisor tip for anybody that's going to Disneyland and wants to eat like it's 1955.
Ooh.
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm thrilled.
Here's your day, all right? You have breakfast at the Minnie and Friends character breakfast at the Plaza Inn.
Okay.
Which was the Red Wagon Inn. Gives you a little bit of that experience.
Yes.
Lunch at Rancho del Zocalo. Again, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but that used to be the Casa de Fritos, and it still has the same vibe.
Yeah.
For a snack, you can have a Dole Whip, which is in the same area where the Adventureland juice bar was, but got its glow up when it changed to the Dole Whip.
Gotta love that Dole Whip.
And then dinner at Riverbell Terrace, which used to be Aunt Jemima's. And these aren't like your these wouldn't be my number one dining reservation recommendations if you were going and looking for the best of the best food. But if you're looking for the historical, I want to feel like I was here in 1955, this is the closest you're going to get.
That's awesome.
And then finishing up with a Carnation Cafe Sundae, which is a nod to the ice cream parlor that used to be there.
Oh my gosh, that's such a cool list of
how to relive.
Yeah, I love that.
I guess you could also go into Golden Horseshoe. I avoided the Golden Horseshoe information in my research because I knew Jake was doing a deep dive, but doing that as a quick serve lunch might be a good idea.
Oh yeah, I would love to just walk into that building, because now
feel the ghosts of the shows that were
see Walt Disney's box, know that it's 1955 glory.
I mean, it still looks basically the same.
Yeah, it's largely been preserved, and you get to see a space designed by Harper Goff, who designed all those cool Western films from the time. So yeah, it's really cool. But so I would change to that. I just didn't know about that when I wrote my list. No, yeah, that honestly is such a cool little trip through truly talking about walking Walt steps.
Yeah,
in Disneyland, that's a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed us for this little journey back in time to a different era of Disney dining. If you guys have enjoyed the show and would like to continue with us on our Disney adventures, you can also find us on social media. We are on TikTok and Instagram at Neverland Navco.
Yes, and we have a Etsy shop called Neverland Navigation where we do custom trip t-shirts. There's not a lot posted. You'd need to go to the website and to the Etsy website and then send us a message telling us what you love, and then we'll send you some design ideas. It's not wildly more than a regular t-shirt, but you get what you want. So if you want a Golden Horseshoe Revue t-shirt we can make that.
Yeah.
This is also where the custom t-shirts come from. You can see all of our 5-star glowing reviews. If you let me book your next vacation, I think I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, if you let me book your next vacation, you get the same deal as you could get yourself or better, and I give my clients free custom trip t-shirts.
Oh, yeah, can't forget that.
Yeah, can't forget that. So send me an email at morgan@neverlandnavigation.com, and we can talk about your next vacation, get you a great deal, and free trip t-shirts.
All right, very nice. Well, we're off to visit Slewfoot Sue, so we'll see you on our next adventure.